What is up everyone, I am Demon Cringe, and today we're going to be taking a look at a very promising cartoon that looks like a prime candidate for premiering on a Cartoon Network. With the lineup of new shows that are coming, such as OKKO Let's Be Heroes and Apple and Onion, which is pretty cool, there is also another pretty promising and in my opinion very cool looking cartoon called Villainous, made by Alan Turiel. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but unfortunately right now it is only in Spanish, but you can basically get the gist of the cartoon when you watch the shorts that I'm going to be linking in the description. Now, before we begin, I'd like to give a huge shout out to a fan and a really good friend of mine, Mimi-Diggz, because she sent a note to me with this cartoon. You know, I didn't know about this until like 1 day ago, and yeah, thank you so much for that, Mimi. It's pretty much about the main villain called Black Hat, with his evil sidekick Dr. Flug, who basically tries to construct these, you know, outrageous contraptions in order to, like, I don't know, dominate the world or whatever. There isn't really much plot in it and all that, basically just because they're tiny little shorts. But I really think that this cartoon is going to go a long way, because it really does look like it shows promise, you know. Also, I'd love to mention that this cartoon is entirely made with traditional animation. Like, I really don't recall any cartoons as of late, you know, that have been using traditional animation. Either a lot of them either look good, you know, they're either animated digitally and they look good, or they're animated digitally and look horribly cheap, like we have Super Noobs recently, and we cannot forget that horrendous Green Lantern cartoon that'll forever burn a hole in our brains. So the shorts themselves are actually pretty cool. Basically, it's kind of like a first the main villain makes an introduction, and then he presents the invention, then does like a demonstration that everything goes wrong. It's pretty comedic, pretty cool, and I highly suggest you watch all the shorts, because they are pretty funny, I gotta say. All of the shorts basically take place in this sort of, you know, like the characters are talking into a camera, which basically kind of reminds me of you know, the typical supervillain thing, you know, like they talk to the camera and broadcast it to all the heroes, like, oh my god, fear me and all that stuff. That is pretty awesome. I really haven't seen a lot of that. And let's face it, we really haven't had any good villain-centered cartoons. Like, everything's supposed to be, oh, this is so good and soft and nice and blah blah blah. I want a villainous cartoon, and Villainous, no pun intended, is quite right up my alley, I gotta say. Now, even though the shorts are basically just one-off, you know, 1-minute webisodes without too much, you know, plot or story, the characters right out of the box are very interesting, you know, like I really like them. So first off, we have Black Hat, the main villain of the show, which I find pretty cool, since not only that he looks awesome, but he also kind of reminds me of an alter ego of myself, which is pretty awesome.
Bienvenidos, espantosos espectadores, soy yo, Black Hat. Una vez más para suministrar todo lo que necesiten para destruir a los insolentes héroes que los perturban.
Next you have Dr. Flug, his evil scientist sidekick. He wears a paper bag over his head and usually has this very frightful demeanor, basically because Black Hat kind of scares the crap out of him.
Más malvado que te puedas imaginar y lo hace real. Por ejemplo, un sándwich es lo más maligno que pudiste imaginar.
You also have other characters such as the Bear, who is pretty funny, you know. He's basically the comic relief type of character. You can obviously see that he is inspired by Totoro from the Studio Ghibli movie. At least that's what I think, because, you know, there's a little flower on his head and he's all chubby and stuff. And you also have another character called Dementia, which is pretty funny. She's basically the party girl of the whole team, and she is in love with Black Hat.
¡Cuatro Black Hats!
Largo de aquí, Dementia.
¡Necesito el mío!
Dementia, no.
Flug, tráeme mi malevolución para mi malvado y asombroso cuerpo. No se me ocurre nada más malvado que dejar a la audiencia anhelando más.
So, as you can see from the shorts, you know, like, everything is basically, really awesome. It holds a lot of promise, you know, the characters, the whole vibe, you know, the premise. It's really cool, you know, and how the characters interact with each other. That's also another really good quality that a lot of cartoons need to practice on. I honestly cannot wait for this to actually come to TV and evolve into a full-length show. And I'd also like to say that I do get kind of different vibes of different shows from this one. A lot of people are going to say that there are vibes of the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, but in my opinion there are actually three. I get a vibe of the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy because of the random humor. I kind of get an Invader Zim vibe, you know, because of all the unique items and how they actually wanna go about doing their stuff. And I also get a vibe of a Hector Concarne, which is also a show made by the creator of Billy and Mandy, as a lot of people have kind of like forgotten about that show. But it actually does give off that kind of vibe. It was basically about a evil brain and stomach living on a circus bear and all that stuff. It's just pretty cool, and they had like a secret base. Now, I also gotta say that this cartoon has at least a sizable chance of becoming a full-fledged show, because it is already available on the Cartoon Network LA channel and Cartoon Network Brazil in Portuguese. Also, I've been doing some searching, and I found out that actually in 2012, the original creator in 2012 actually made some short webisodes on his official webpage, but for some reason they were deleted. I don't know why, but thank goodness 4chan came to the rescue and they saved all of them. And you can see one clip of him right here.
Y dice que también vuela.
Sí, sí, es horrible. Un demonio que vuela. Solo falta que se le antoje ser paloma y que me llene el barco de popó.
So as you can see, the show itself, you know, like these earlier shorts, they're really not as good as what we have now. Like obviously the creator had more time to develop and think about what he's going to be doing with this, and it actually turned out to be a hell of a lot better than this. But the original one is actually also pretty funny. You know, it basically has this whole show about nothing kind of feel. But the voice acting is a little bit on the weaker side, plus the animation really isn't all that good. What we have now, I really hope that it actually comes to TV. Unfortunately, the only things that I could actually find about this cartoon, apart from the YouTube videos with the subtitles and stuff, everything else is either in Spanish or Portuguese. So I don't know if there are like full elaborations on the actual story and background of the characters. If there is, please, someone who can speak those languages, help me out with that. Also, before I end off the video, if you really like these Villainous little shorts and you want them to get greenlit into a full-length show, be sure to head off to the Villainous fan club group on DeviantArt, which has been founded this week by my friend Mimi-Diggz, where you can get in touch with fellow people who really love the show. As you can see, a lot of people have already posted tons and tons of fan art. Moderators and contributors are wanted, and over here there are links to the all of the shorts subtitled and even an amateur English sub. And over here, okay, it's not loading. You have direct Twitter feed, direct tweet feeds by the creator himself. We'll go over to his Twitter right now, and boom, there he is, in all his villainous glory. It was supposed to load over here, but I guess I don't know. The group is actually still new, so there are some tweaks that are needed. But anyway, yeah, that is all I gotta say for this. If you really like the show, go over to the group and. Also, comment on the official Cartoon Network channels that you want to get this show greenlit. We really need to get together online just like this, you know, like we need to do something like this with pretty much every show that people are expecting to be greenlit, because unless we do something like this, then I don't think Cartoon Network is really gonna get the notion that we want these shows unless we speak out loud enough. So basically get together. Spread the message, and yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and press the little bell icon, and as always, I'm Mimi-Diggz, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.